welcome to the Horror Hangout, a podcast where two bearded film fans watch the 50 best horror movies ever and then talk about them. My name is Luke Condor with a K, and I'm joined by my regular co-hosts, Mr.
Ben Errington.
And Mr. Ben Errington. How's it going? Are you alright?
Aye.
We took 2 weeks off for a little sojourn. Sojourn?
Yeah.
Sojourn.
I mean, that's incredibly lazy of us, isn't it? We don't take that many breaks, do we?
No, not unless we can't be bothered. And then, we're back. We're going to watch the 50 best horror movies ever, like I said.
It's a comeback. Is it? Can you call it a comeback?
Yeah, we went away and then we came back.
There you go. That's all you need.
So we are cracking on the list now. Last time we talked about number 15 on the list, which was, I don't know, long ago.
We talked about 13 Ghosts last time.
Oh, yeah. That was why we needed a break. We did.
That was why we needed a break, because, you know, it got under my skin, kind of just zapped me of all energy, and just all my lust for life is just gone.
Yeah. But now it's back with the Wicker Man. Number 14.
Oh yeah, that's brought the lust for my lust for life right back.
Yeah. Have you so what else have you been up to in the shall I cut around this bit if you don't want to talk about it?
What else have I been up to? I've been doing life. Not doing life very well, but you know, I've been trying my best. Apart from that, I've not really done many horror things. I've not really watched any horror at all.
You watched Daddy's Home.
I watched Daddy's Home.
To some people, that could be considered a horror movie.
That was all right, yeah. I'm going to watch the sequel as well. I liked it enough to want to watch the sequel. See, I like a Will Ferrell comedy, but occasionally, especially in the later years, they can drift into, you know, they're very similar and they can be a bit mediocre. But
I remember like Step Brothers and Anchorman, that sort of Will Ferrell period, I think is kind of amazing. Yeah, it's gold, solid gold. But I haven't seen any for a while. I think I watched one when he was like a criminal, and that was about
Get Hard. See, the thing is that they like you give him equal billing with somebody else, and I think it doesn't always work. Like, I like his sort of chemistry with Mark Wahlberg, but then they did it like him and Kevin Hart, and then him and someone else. I mean, I don't know if it always works. I think he's at his best when he's kind of like the center of attention.
Yeah. I think Anchorman is my favourite Will Ferrell film. Although Elf, you know, is pretty good at Christmas.
The one that always made me chuckle the most was one where he wasn't a lead role at all. Was Old School.
Yeah, I've not seen that for a while.
There's a lot of really laugh out loud, belly laugh moments in that.
Yeah.
Just 'cause, I mean, it's just completely ridiculous. I think that was the first time I really sat up and paid attention to it. Yeah. But apart from that, I haven't really watched anything else. I've got the Cloverfield Paradox to watch possibly tonight. Obviously, how do you feel about how they dropped this film?
Well, so I've seen it, and
you've seen it, have you? Like that, is it?
I don't want to spoil anything for you, but I think if they released it theatrically, I think people would have been pretty disappointed.
It's got a good cast, though.
I think it's a really good TV movie. I think people are expecting a lot out of it. Like,
you haven't seen 10 Cloverfield Lane, have you?
No. But that's good, right?
The thing is, it's probably the most loosely connected trilogy as such ever. It's kind of like three, as far as I could tell from the Cloverfield Paradox, not seen it yet. As far as I could tell, it's three completely different concepts, loosely linked together by something.
Yeah, they kind of try and connect it all together when it probably doesn't really need to be as much.
It doesn't.
No.
It's like it'd just be like a sitcom, and then it could suddenly everyone will look out the window and go, Jesus, have a look at that, and it'll be like the Cloverfield sitcom. Do you know what I mean? That's how they connect it. They literally just go, there's a giant monster over there.
Yeah, I kind of like them not being connected, because it's like Black Mirror. Do you know what I mean? Like every episode has a similar sort of vibe.
Yeah, and there's like hints towards it possibly being connected, which I kind of like.
Yeah.
Which I like shared universes, but not when they're sort of like, with this it kind of feels a little bit forced.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like you go, I can't wait to see how this is going to affect this and that's going to affect this. It's just like, well, who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think Cloverfield, the original, was strong enough a film to warrant these sort of spin-off / sequel things.
The thing is, I really like Cloverfield, and I know, like, my mate through and quite a few people really got into the the universe and like the theorizing of what's that? Why is that thing? Where's that creature come from? That kind of thing. So, I don't find it
any more interesting than like the Godzilla, King Kong stuff.
I mean, it's just a kaiju thing coming out of the sea.
Yeah,
right? That's all you need. Yeah,
that's all it is. Yeah. I don't find it that interesting. Like for example, like Pacific Rim. I mean, we're getting a sequel to that.
I don't know if I watch the sequel. I quite like the first one, but I don't think I need a sequel.
The first one, I mean, yeah, the sequel. So obviously not directed by Guillermo del Toro. Doesn't seem to have a lot of the same actors in. We've got John Boyega as the lead. Whereas everybody else,
dead.
Yeah, I mean, dead. I mean, I'll give it a watch, but there's only so much giant monster shit I can tolerate before I go.
Yeah.
Just let me watch Daddy's Home again, please.
Yeah. So I watched like the complete opposite side of that. Then I guess is on Netflix is a film called Super Dark Times. Not really many people are talking about it.
No.
It was just sort of shoved onto Netflix like most of the films are nowadays. And
shoved.
It's like a 90... You know how we're getting all these 80s nostalgia-ridden things at the minute with like kids...
Ridden.
Riddled with nostalgia.
They're riddled with nostalgia. It's all over me.
They're like the kids sort of hanging out in the sort of all the 80s music, and then they find a monster or something and everything's go wrong. This is that bit in the 90s, and it's not so much it's not supernatural really in any way at all. But it's got loads of like cool 90s things. It very much feels like what it was really like when we grew up. And it's about some kids playing with a samurai sword in the woods, and then things go wrong from there. But it's
someone gets their little finger chopped off.
And then some, yeah. But it's
2 fingers.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really dark. It's really tense. Like it's one of those films where you're watching it and then you kind of like, I don't know if my heart can actually handle this sort of tenseness. It's the same way I felt with Green Room. Good. That made me feel really tense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh right. Oh, Green Room.
It's not quite
for some reason my head went to Green Wing.
Yeah. Green Wing.
For a second.
I can't watch that sitcom anymore. Oh. It's too tense for me.
Oh yeah, I've watched episodes of season 11 of The X-Files.
Yeah.
Episode 1 and 2 were awful. Real bad.
Why is it so bad? Why is it so bad?
Because I don't this new series season of The X-Files relied too heavily on you remembering so many little details of A, the last series, and B, like everything as a whole. Like, I mean, when we look at the main mythology of the X-Files, it goes over the same ground a lot. Do you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, we're getting double crossed by the Smoking Man. This is happening. Oh god, aliens. Oh my god, experiments.
Yeah.
And what it kind of did was like, it was really like abrasive to watch. It was like edited with loads of these like flashbacks and all these different things. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Do you know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. The episodes of the X-Files that are good are the Monster of the Week episodes.
Yeah.
Where Mulder and Scully turn up to investigate something. Scully, even though she's seen hundreds of monsters, still says, oh, I don't know about all this. Sounds like a load of muck. And Mulder's still like, I believe in everything.
I've heard so many people say the same thing as you. That it just needs to be a Monster of the Week procedural. That's
exactly what it is. I mean, the actual the mythology, the alien abduction mythology. Do you know what I mean? We've had 20 plus years of it. Well, more than that. Chronologically.
Also, the idea of like grey aliens. Are they the aliens that are in X-Files? Little grey
aliens.
Those were maybe scary to people in like the early 90s. But now...
Yeah, but there's loads of stuff. There's like the grey aliens. There's like people who are like alien-human hybrids. There's like the black oil alien stuff that goes in, appears in your eyes.
It's called black cancer or something.
I'm not sure. Probably.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically the first 2 episodes of the X-Files season 11 were like that, and they were I was like, I don't know what's going on.
And how many episodes are there in this season?
So I've seen like 4. So I've seen 2, and there's a few more. I think 3 and 4 are like Monster of the Week ones. I think the third one's like a doppelganger thing, and then there's some other sort of creature. So
yeah, are you gonna watch it?
We'll see. Yeah, I'll persevere. If I know they're Monster of the Week ones, I'll persevere with it.
I'm at the point now where I'm not willing to persevere with a season like a TV show. Because there's so many TV shows where people are like, you have to watch this, and I'm like, that's 14 hours long. That's 24 hours long. If I'm not enjoying it within like 2 episodes, I'm out. I just time.
I get bothered though, but like I get haunted by the ghosts of like series that I haven't completed. like series where I've watched like one episode and I'm like, oh god, whoa, I should have finished it. No, leave it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like the need to collect and complete stuff that's making me want to.
Games, do you have to get like 100% of the games?
No, I don't have to do that because
I used to get annoyed with
mainly because I can't.
I used to get annoyed at people playing like Sonic and stuff, and they'd have to go back and get every ring, even if they've missed one that's sort of dangling. Leave it.
Even if they missed one that's dangling.
You don't need every single ring.
Leave it. But you must be also annoyed by people who just run through the level collecting nothing. Jump in. I don't
know, actually. I can do a bit.
Anarchists.
Yeah, but especially Sonic. Like, there's a speed element to the game that I quite like. Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. He is fast.
Yeah. That's his whole thing, really. Okay. So let's talk about the Wicker Man then. So if you're up for it. Yeah, why not? Okay, so this is number 14 on the list. Have you got like a synopsis there?
Yeah, I haven't, but I'll grab one for you. Why not? So this is obviously not the remake with Nicolas Cage. This is the original 1973 Wicker Man. So basically, a police sergeant is sent to a Scottish island village in the search for a missing girl whom the townsfolk claim never existed. Stranger still are the rites that take place there. Rites? The sort of the things,
rituals and stuff. Yeah.
Rituals, the rituals that take place there. So yeah, obviously this was remade in 2006, where Nicolas Cage played the main character, and it was like an island off the coast of the US. It was like obviously very different, but kind of like pagan rituals, paganists, and Nicolas Cage going fucking ape shit.
Cajun pagan. I watching this. Again, this version, I can't understand why they ever thought a remake set in America would work. It's so of its time. Like, it's about like hedonism and sort of kids in the 70s, free love, drugs, and that kind of thing. Like, I can't understand why they thought they could remake it and do it well. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, this is what Empire said about it. The Wicker Man shouldn't really work. An outsider's view of mythical Scotland, written and directed by Englishmen and scored by an American, and replete with songs to the extent that it's practically a musical. It's a minefield of elements that could all have gone horribly wrong, and yet it's also right. That weirdness, a crucial part of the unsettling whole. Woodward's hapless investigations leading inexorably to that final devastating reveal. There's plenty of humour, but it never feels like Woodward isn't in real frightening trouble. The climax is as inevitable as it's horrifying. It's easy to laugh at the remake, but even Hardy himself failed to recapture the dark magic with his belated Wicker Tree. The Wicker Man is unrepeatable.
Yeah, see, what is this Wicker Tree? I'm looking at this now. It's
the sort of sequel. I've got some trivia sort of related around it. So
it's got 3.9 on IMDb.
Ooh. But this film feels like a tightrope walk. Like, it feels like it could have gone like it says there. Like, I feel like it could have gone wrong in so many ways. But there's something about it that I just really, really like. I really enjoy it. It's got 90% of Rotten Tomatoes, so it's critically loved. 7.6, which is the standard on IMDb. I'm pretty sure I've seen this before. Yeah. But I don't remember it very well. But like the kind of vibes I got from it, which is kind of the wrong way around. I shouldn't be getting vibes for this. It reminded me of Hot Fuzz. Well, which is Edward Woodward is
in Hot Fuzz,
guy,
yeah. So obviously, I mean, Hot Fuzz was heavily influenced by this.
Yeah.
This is like the classic outsider comes into like a really tightly knit, sort of community and gets fucked up.
Well, I struggle to remember anything about this one other than the ending, and I think it's because that ending is like so devastating and so like iconic that it's like that sort of takes over what's in your mind about the film. But also, it feels like a fever dream. Like, it feels like you're in the same way if you did a load of drugs and then the next day you're like, what happened? Like, I feel like that's the same way you feel about this film.
Was Christopher Lee in a dress? Yeah. Does he have a wig on?
And then you have like this montage of flashbacks, like people dancing naked, Christopher Lee singing a song about Nimble Jack or whatever he's singing, making like tinned peach in cream. There's so many weird things in this film.
Yeah, the worst dinner I've ever seen in my life. Literally the worst dinner.
What was the dinner again?
It's just like it's just boiled potatoes and some broiled beans, and even Sergeant Howie was just like, "Oh yuck!" when he was eating it.
Yeah. So you've seen this before, right?
We'll get to that. I have seen it before, but like my memory of it is very foggy. Like I've seen the remake as well, but I saw that around about the time it came out. So it becoming like a meme, or it becoming like infamously ridiculous and over the top, happened after I saw it. Yeah. So I saw it, and I remember thinking, "This is fucking mental."
Yeah.
But like the ridiculous of it, I never really realized until just a few years ago, I guess, when all the internet videos started emerging.
Yeah. So, do you prefer the Nicolas Cage version? Or...
I mean, they're both entertaining in their own right. Let's not skimp on that. Let's not act like they're not.
Yeah.
The Wicker Man remake, although essentially isn't a good film, is incredibly entertaining. Like that, you would rather sit down and watch that with like a group of mates.
There's a bit where he starts beating up all the women.
Yeah, he starts beating up women. Yeah. He's got like a bear costume on.
Yeah.
And he's just almost every line he delivers is just OTT. He's chewing the scenery. But I mean, the original is, as I said, it's not one you want to watch all the time because it is just it's a little bit unsettling, but it's like it is a bit annoying as well. I find it a bit annoying. I find like everyone annoying.
Yeah, I like it. I think the fact that you kind of like aren't sure what to think or of the characters or like even the tone as you're watching it, it makes me feel like I'm more inside in Howie's shoes. Like I'm like in a weird sort of Neverland, and like none of this makes any sense anymore.
Yeah.
And it really like sort of displaces.
Yeah,
you.
I found myself getting annoyed as he gets annoyed as well. Because he's just like, "Oh, you bloody heathens! You bloody idiots!"
Yeah. Yeah.
Some like the way they're like not answering his questions directly over. I'll just be like, "Oh, for God's sake, just answer the question."
Yeah.
Well, it could be, or it might be, or it should be.
I would get very violent quite quickly.
You would? Would you punch some? Would you punch some of the?
I'd punch someone in the boob. Yeah.
Right to the tit.
This film kind of I think the reason I find it so sort of effective is because the whole idea of the way they sort of sacrifice him for like their own beliefs. I find that like one of the most like inherently scary things, being killed or hurt based on someone else's beliefs that you don't believe in. If that makes sense. Because someone else's logic. I don't believe this shouldn't be hurt. I don't believe in this.
It's totally relevant to like modern times. Well, not just modern times. Yeah. Like it's totally relevant to loads of stuff. But now with like there's so many extreme organisations now, like Westboro Baptist Church, ISIS, like so many extreme organisations who are willing to kill you based on your beliefs.
Yeah.
It does ring true,
scary,
and it is one of those terrifying things. It's almost like it's so hard to comprehend. It's like, well, why would you hurt me just because I don't think the same way as you? Like, you wouldn't think the same. Like with these people, they wouldn't think the same way if they were raised somewhere else.
Mm.
So it's just like,
see, if I were to do a remake of this, I would forget all the pagan stuff. I would set it in, the Middle East. And have like you be the person be sacrificed or killed based on a completely other set of beliefs that aren't there.
Yeah. But you'd have a Wicker Man as well.
You burn them in a Wicker Man at the end. Yeah. That's
you
how they all end. It's like the Cloverfield Paradox. Like they're very loosely based, and then you have like the same thing happen at the end.
Someone getting burned in a Wicker Man. A whole army of Wicker Men coming over a hill.
Just to sort of show you sort of how weird this film. So I was looking through my notes, and I watched this about like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like trying to make sense of the stuff I'd written down, and at one point I'd put jitter sex. I have no idea what that's like pertains to or what it's about.
Do you mean jitters as in, is that a word for like goths or alternative jitter sex?
Jitters? I don't know.
Have you heard that before?
No, what's that?
Jitters is like if you're like a goth or like a alternative kid or like a punk or emo.
Like
or
how
something.
we say grebo or greb?
Yeah. It's just like a grebo or a greb.
Okay. Yeah.
So when we get that in Bristol, it'd be like, "Oh, God, bloody hell, you jitter!" It was a bit like that.
Never heard of that. Yeah.
If you had a Slipknot t-shirt on or like a studded belt, you're a jitter.
Oh, you were Greb up here.
And they obviously they go, oh, here mate, where's your skateboard?
Yeah, we get that a lot, yeah.
And a good comeback to that is at your mum's house, which is also their house. So it's like it's a 1-2.
Yeah. Okay, so Jitsu. I know what that meant. I mean, I'll have to watch it again and see. There's only like 2 key players in this film, I thought. Edward Woodward plays Sergeant Howie, and Christopher Lee, who plays Lord Summerisle.
It's a good name to say, isn't it? Edward Woodward.
Edward Woodward. Yeah, that's why he's famous. That's why he made a career. If you want to make a name for yourself, make it.
Is that his real name?
Yeah, it probably is.
It is.
Yeah.
It sure is.
I used to know a guy called Woodward, and now every time I read this guy's name, I'm thinking of my friend Woodward. Yeah. So the story, we start with Sergeant Howie is very Christian. He's singing and praying. He's very sort of Catholic, sort of old school. Everything's prim and proper with
he's quite an oppressed individual.
Yeah,
he's someone who's clearly his life has been ruled and governed by religion.
Yeah,
and he holds it very dear. He's a devout Christian.
Yeah.
And he can fly a plane.
Yeah, he's like he's very much the idea of old school authority. Do you know what I mean? He's the policeman. He's the word of God. He's all these kind of things that Summerisle probably doesn't know or doesn't understand. Or
probably everything he sort of stands against. Because I'm assuming Summerisle probably started this.
I bet he votes Conservative as well. So.
I bet he bloody does.
Yeah. So anyway, it starts with him getting the plane over the Scottish hills and stuff, and then we're already getting like a folk song that sort of ends. It's a bit of a
Rose.
biddly beedly boo, and then it ends, and then you think, okay, that's the end of that montage, and then it starts like a second verse or something, and it continues.
There's a lot of the songs in this film. There's some weird instruments, some weird, strange sounding instruments. Like what's that little thing called? Like the doing doing doing.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember what that's called. It's called like a scan. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, there's like some weird noises where you're just like, what the hell? Like the soundtrack isn't. I mean, it is unnerving, but it's not like a horror film or a thriller film soundtrack at all. It's just like these really jaunty, sort of sexual, weird pagan songs.
Yeah, it only gets disturbing right at the end when it's just like the tribal drum beat thing. But the rest of it's all jaunty. It properly reminds me of, I'm sure I've brought up this Woodstock DVD so many times on the podcast, but only because it just seems to keep coming up. Like the music they played at Woodstock was this kind of music. They all had weird instruments. They were all kind of jaunty, folky songs, and then they had the odd like not metal songs, but what they pretty considered metal, like Jimi Hendrix and stuff. But a lot of
Hendrix, black metal.
A lot of it was this kind of folky, jaunty music, and that's exactly like what I think of when I listen to this. But so Edward Woodward, he goes to Summerisle, he lands his plane, he gets off, and there's like people's like men chewing tobacco or something.
A load of old codgers.
Yeah.
And he gets off on the wrong foot, Sergeant Howie, because he's already like barking orders at them. Somebody come and get me off this plane with a boat. Come on. I said somebody. Yeah.
Edward Woodward's accent as well it wasn't real. It sounded like Mrs. Doubtfire. There's so many times when I was like, I've run by fruiting deer. Just like imagine just could imagine him saying it.
Oh wow. Yeah. So he turns up and he's looking for a missing girl, disappearance of a young girl, Rowan Morrison. And he asks all these old codgers if they've seen her, shows her a picture, and they're just like, oh, she's not of this island. Yeah. I kept thinking, who told him to go there? Because, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but didn't they report it?
Yeah, someone reported it. Who reported it? They must have done.
Lord Summerisle, or they did, yeah. And I think they knew he was gonna go there. I don't know. They kind of lured him there for whatever reason. Maybe that's why they changed it in the remake to make it a bit more active in the way they lured him there. So he starts walking around the town. Very right away is weird. If you even like little things like in the shops they go to, they don't sell like normal tablets and stuff. They have like little jars of flowers and they've got like frogs and stuff. It's all very
So it's like if you got a sore throat, put a frog down your neck. If you got diarrhea, stick a dandelion up.
It's all frog-based medicine.
Stick a toad up your ass.
Yeah.
Wiggly.
So he goes around a town. Does he go to the pub first, the Green Man, or?
No. I think he just goes. He goes to like the woman's house whose child is allegedly missing, and she kind of says, "That's not my daughter." When he shows her the picture,
yeah.
And then he goes and asks. She's got another daughter, like a younger one, who's painting a picture of her hair, and he goes and sort of tries to help her paint the picture, and he asks, "Where is Rowan?" And he says, and she says she's running on the fields or something, and then she goes, and then it turns out she was talking about a hare, not even a girl.
Yeah.
Like a hare. And he's like, I mean, it is confusing. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
At this point, I would have called the mum in and gone, right, give me the lowdown, because this is what your daughter's saying, and this is what I've got this picture of her, Rowan Morrison. You're Mrs. Morrison, so tell me what the fuck's going on. Stop mucking me about.
I think if it was a real detective policeman type thing, he would have been like, sit down, and he'd go through the details until they started to trip up on themselves.
Yeah.
He'd very quickly get to the bottom and go, and then it'd like cut to 10 minutes later, and you're trying to sacrifice me on your wooden pipe. Like he'd get there right away. Like he'd know the questions to ask.
Yeah.
Or if he went Nicolas Cage, he'd start the punching and the kicking right from the start.
Yeah. So he would. He just stopped. She would have gone, "Oh, that's my daughter." He just hit her straight away. Why are they burned?
Okay.
So then he sort of witnesses them like a few weird things around the thing, and then he goes. Doesn't he go to the Green Man Inn, to the pub to stay? He needs a room, and I'd like a room, and I'd like some supper.
Yeah, and there's loads of people in there. They're all they're not singing yet. No one's singing.
They're all
yet.
Annoying.
They're all like super annoying. Yeah,
a classic. You walk in and everybody stops and the music stops. And everyone looks at you as if to say,
"Yeah,
stranger." I mean, that's a bit cliche, but they're all annoying. Like they're just all. Everyone seems to be there in the pub. Like, there's a big bearded man, like who looks like Brian Blessed. Like loads of the old codgers are there, and there's random women and young kids, and someone's playing a fiddle, and someone's like, it's annoying. I'd be like, I just want to relax and drink. You got to do my head in.
So he goes to like eat or something. At some point, one of them just breaks out into a song, and then this is the first like song where someone's singing of many. Like every 5 minutes from here on out, someone's singing a song. It's quite a good song. I can't remember what it's called.
They sing a song which is basically Sergeant Howie talks to the landlord asking for a room, and the landlord says, "Well, my daughter will show you," and then his daughter Willow says she's going to show. I mean, she's like a sort of blonde. She's played by Britt Ekland, isn't she? But she's like a sort of young blonde, clearly not of the landlord's DNA, because he's like this.
The landlord's a strange guy, isn't he?
Balding weasel man.
Yeah. And
then everyone starts singing a song about shagging the landlord's daughter.
Yeah, the landlord looks like, in Harry Potter 3, where Timothy Spall is half like he's a rat and then he gets turned into a human. Like halfway between that like transformation, that's the landlord from this.
The landlord's like, he's enjoying it when they're all singing a song about shagging the landlord's daughter. Out shagging the landlord's daughter. That's not the lyrics, but that's pretty much what
it's pretty much
that's the gist. They say one bit where they're like, "What's between her legs?" or something like that.
Yeah, so instantly,
and she starts grinding on someone as well.
Yeah, like all these old men. It's pretty rough. Edward is eating some tinned peaches or some tinned, and he said, "Why haven't you got it?" I don't understand why they have the tinned peaches, because
no, he's eating a horrible dinner. He's eating like boiled potatoes and broiled beans, and he's like, "Yuck!" He says, "This is disgusting." And Willow sort of says, "Well, that's all we've got, sorry." And he's like, "Oh, it's out of a tin, isn't it?" And then he asks for a dessert, and he asks for a classic
basics, isn't it?
He asks for a classic dessert. She goes, "What dessert do you want?" He goes, "I'll just have an apple." And she goes, "We haven't got any apples." And then she offers him a tin of peaches. You can have anything for dessert. Or I'll have a millionaire shortbread. Or I'll have a lovely Neapolitan ice cream.
Yeah.
Or I'll get myself a lovely bit of New York cheesecake. Or I'll just have an apple. For fuck's sake. I know you're a religious man, but be a little bit more adventurous with your desserts.
I can remember me and Kat ordering a banana split from Wetherspoons as a dessert, And then something must have got messed up when he ordered. We finished our dinner and he just put a banana on the end of the table. and I think they were kind of confused because they kind of walked away a little bit like, I don't think this is right, but let's see how they react.
Yeah, it's a banana.
Put a banana on the end of the table.
I remember I was I think it was a Greek restaurant with a friend of mine, and he ordered a hot banana. And I was like, why are you ordering a hot banana? He's like, I just want to see what it is. And he ordered it. It was like 5-6 quid. And it was literally like a banana that was hot. It had been cooked.
Yeah.
And it had been sliced down the middle. And that was pretty much it. And I was like,
that's like we can either give you this incredible £1 million or the mystery box. I'll take the mystery box.
Hot banana.
Have you had a frozen banana?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'd pay £1 for that. Okay, so
Howie, like after he goes to bed, he kind of starts looking out the window, and that's when
they're still singing downstairs, aren't they?
They're still singing downstairs. Loads of people are shagging in the like churchyard. Someone's like naked on a gravestone,
you
crying.
know what this whole scene is like? Have you ever watched what's that Gordon Ramsay program where he goes to like inns and hotels and stuff? And the first night is always him like walking around. He tries the food and goes, "This is shit." And then he goes to bed and you can hear them having the disco downstairs and he's trying to get comfy. This is the first scene. What is that thing called?
I don't know. Gordon Ramsay goes hard. But yeah, so Lord Summerisle brings like a grandson of someone to like pretty much, is it a grandson or someone, to basically offer up to Willow. He's like, I present to you this young fellow, and Willow's like, send him up then, because I'm gonna sit on his face.
She calls him. He calls.
And then he has to walk through the pub.
Or something. Yeah. Did he hear them having sex next door or something? Was they outside?
I think he hears them having sex, and obviously Officer Howie's a bit of a prude, so he's like, bloody hell, don't want to listen to this. So he plugs his iPod in and listens to songs of praise.
Yeah. He does pray, doesn't he? If he gets on the bottom of his bed and starts.
Yeah. He prays. He prays, all right. He prays hard.
So the next day, I think he starts to do a bit of investigation. Right, he goes to a school and they're dancing around the maypole.
And they're singing a. It's all a bit sexual.
That's with that instrument, right?
Yeah. There was a tree, there was a branch, there was a branch, there was an egg, there was an egg, there was a...
And then he goes into the classroom and the girls are singing along and he asks the woman teacher about what they're learning and she goes, how the maypole is a penis. Or just talking about how the phallic object. It's all very overly sexual for these tiny little kids to be learning about this kind of thing. And he isn't very happy about that, obviously.
He's just like, for fuck's sake, just chill out, do the times table. We're learning about how the maypole is a massive cock.
Yeah. At what point did he realise they don't believe in God?
I think he kind of starts realising pretty soon on, doesn't he? I think he just realises they're all pagan religion heathens.
Yeah.
Pagans.
Yeah. So he goes. I think he goes to where to get the photos. Does he go to the Rowan's coffin first, gravestone first?
Yeah, I think he goes to Rowan's burial plot, and then he meets Lord Summerisle, so played by Christopher Lee, pretty much straight off, and just they talk a load of nonsense.
Yeah.
He basically tells them about the history of the island and how they all embrace the pagan religion.
See, so this bit kind of confused me because Christopher Lee, the idea is that his great granddad in 1901 or something moved to this Summerisle island in Scotland because they got Mediterranean waters and they had some hot summers or something, so he decided they could grow fruit. But they decided that the best way to get the people involved in the growing or the people who are living there to sort of get involved was to start to teach them about paganism, right? And over the years they've now fully embraced the pagan lifestyle and they've gone full pagan. But Christopher Lee
never go full pagan.
At this point I got the impression that Christopher Lee didn't actually believe it, but he knew it was a way of keeping control of their little population and keeping them happy and stuff. But later on, I'm pretty sure he fully believes what's going on. The way he sort of talks about the burning and stuff. So
I think he was
what he believes.
He was kind of like, I think he was just kind of playing the fool. Maybe it's just to direct Howie's attention away from him a little bit, possibly.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. He was being a little bit Machiavellian there, wasn't he?
Yeah. But at some point, that's the point where they're looking outside and there's just like girls dancing naked, like jumping naked over a fire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this kind
of
stuff.
And he's like, what are they doing jumping naked over that fire? Well, you want them to jump naked? You want them to jump clothed? How dangerous.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of 70s bushes going along as well, so they're fire hazard. Yeah.
Do you feel like this film is a reaction to so when peace and love and marijuana and all that kind of stuff started to come out, do you feel like this is like the conservative reaction to that film? To that era?
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Maybe they're like...
They're going to start banning as well.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. There are probably like loads of people like Howie around at the time going, heathens!
Yeah. So, at what point does he find the photos of Rowan?
Yeah, so pretty much he finds the missing photographs somehow, and then he sees a picture of Rowan standing at the end of like a harvest, but there's like no produce. So then he realizes that obviously last year was
they had a bad one. Yeah,
they had a bad one, and then I'm not sure exactly how he works it out, but he works out that basically the islanders make a human sacrifice to ensure the next will be bountiful.
Yeah.
So he comes to the conclusion that Rowan is alive at this point, doesn't he?
Yeah. Okay. So then I think he realizes that the next day. Oh yeah. So they're all expecting him to go home, and they're all kind of like egging him on to go home for this day that's coming up.
He does try and go home now. He tries to get back in his plane, and then his plane won't start.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Have one of you mucked about with this?" No, wasn't us.
Yeah.
Your plane's fucked, is it? And he goes, this guy can row you home, but it'd take about a week. I'd be like, oh, go on then.
Yeah, just bring us some tinned peaches and we'll be off. Yeah. So he has to stay that night, right? And that's the night where, what's her name starts doing, the landlord's daughter.
Yeah. The landlord's daughter gets naked and does some dance in her bedroom, but she's basically like an enticing dance where she's trying to get Howie, who not only is a religious man, but he's also a virgin. He's engaged to be married, and he doesn't believe in sex before marriage. And she gets completely naked and starts banging on the wall. Doesn't he bang on the wall back at some point, as if that's like him?
Yeah, yeah. This is weird because it's. I mean, I just got to admire the confidence of any actress who's willing to do that sort of dancing. In front of like a room. I mean, maybe this is just the 70s. This is what people did, but because it's not a normal dance. I've never seen anything quite like that.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For all the right reasons, Luke. For the choreography and the framing of the shots. I mean, it was lovely.
It was like watching like a paper bag trapped in wind, sort of flapping about, and it's very. I'm trying to do like a natural sort of.
There's nothing like that, but it was good though. It was good. I'll give it 10 out of 10.
Cool. Dancing with the Stars. 10 out of 10. But he resists. He doesn't want to do anything, so he goes to bed.
He goes to bed with a lob on. There are some talk of erections in this film as well. Like earlier when they were singing the song about shagging the landlord's daughter, one of them went, "Oh," and then one of the lyrics was something about someone having something in their pants, and someone went, did a childish erection mime.
Someone said maybe it's later on. I think they call him Edward the ejaculation of some pagan god. Like
it says stuff like that on the gravestones. It's like, here lies the ejaculation of the serpents.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Here lies the ejaculation of the serpents. Just how I wanted to be remembered. He could have said father, brother, husband, whatever, but you've said, here lies this twat, ejaculation of the serpents.
Speaking of weird, like burial sort of rites and stuff, have you ever seen that video of there's the people who live in the mountains, and when one of them dies, they put them out on the hill, and there's videos of this, and all these vultures within 10 seconds fly around, smother the body, and then they pick the meat from the bones, and within about a minute, it's just bones left. They picked like everything off the dead body. That's
shit, hungry vultures.
In my Wicker Man remake, that might be one of the ways they sacrifices.
Yeah, that'd be good. All the vultures turning up. All the so it's in the Middle East with vultures and ISIS.
Yeah,
good. It's good. I like it already.
And Nicolas Cage, of course. Yeah. So the next morning, everyone's dressed up in their crazy pagan costumes. We're getting now we're getting full on folk horror. They're all wearing like their weird straw masks. This was quite Kill List, wasn't it? With all the naked masked people at the end, reminded me of that. Although again, obviously, it's clearly relying heavily on the Wicker Man. So Officer Howie basically steals the landlord's costume, where he's like the fool. Right? Yeah, it's like the Punch and
Judy. He like hits him with something, but he just gets KO'd. He hits him in the back, but he's just like, oh. And he steals his outfit, but his outfit, you can still see like the back of his head. So like you'd be able to tell it wasn't the landlord because they got like completely different hair.
Yeah, I think they know anyway, don't they? But they're just sort of having him on.
Yeah. But still, if I was Officer Howie, I'd be like, bloody hell, this ain't a good enough costume.
Yeah.
So yeah, he basically goes along to this sort of, what would you call it, like a ritual thing where everyone's marching along, singing a song.
Yeah. Oh god, there's a few bits. There's a sword bit, but like so everyone's sort of dancing through the town and stuff, and he's sort of following them along. And they're obviously like kind of playing with him, like toying with him, like following him, and then like making noises and disappearing, hitting him with sticks and stuff, goosing him, like squeezing his butt cheeks and stuff,
giving him a wet willy. Oh, get off me! And
then he gets into this big queue, and there's like 4 people with like swords. And then it's the game where they have to go in, stand up in the swords, and then get down. And at one point, it's like
Game of Chance.
Yeah, what's that game of musical chairs? Yeah, musical chairs. When the music stops, they have to like slice the head. Do they actually cut someone's head off?
No, they cut off. Looks like they cut off someone's head, but it turns out it was just a part of this girl's costume where she was dressed as like a hare, and they like cut off the head. And obviously, Officer Howie in his uniform goes like, "Hey!" like shits himself.
Yeah.
And then she like pops her head out and goes, "Wait,
having you on.
Glad you there."
Yeah.
We don't do actual murders until in a minute.
And then so they continue on onto the beach or like the cliff edge or something, and then they find Rowan, and then Edward Woodward takes his mask off and goes, "It's been me all along." And then everyone's like, "Oh no.
Oh, what's happening now?"
Yeah.
And then he goes and cuts Rowan free, and then she gives it the old, "Help me, they're crazy."
Yeah. She says this way, and then they go that way, and then they go for like a little tunnel, some caves, and I get the impression that they're supposed to have been trying to escape for a little while because they're a little bit tired and haggard when they get out. And you eventually climb out, and then Christopher Lee's there already. Everyone's there waiting. It's time to make your appointment with the Wicker Man.
He's been stitched right up. So they say that they're gonna sacrifice him, but they say because he fits their gods to the sun god. They talk about who's going to help them with their crops.
Yeah.
So he fits their god's requirements, Howie. So he came of his own free will, with the power of a king. So that's obviously because he's a lawman. He's a virgin. I'd be like, how do you bloody know? I'm always at it.
Yeah.
And is a fool, which is a bit harsh.
Yeah. If he did give in to his urges the night before, would that mean they were like, "Oh, we can't burn him now"? Like
if he just went, "I had a massive wank last night."
Yeah.
They'd have to say, "Oh,
I've
did you
prove it?" How would you prove it?
This is how you do it.
Describe a woman's boob.
So why was Willow trying to have it off with him?
Exactly, yeah. Unless if he did give in, she'd be like, "Blue balls." maybe just add a bit of extra torture in there. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a good point.
Yeah. So Howie tries to like bargain with Lord Summerisle, where he's just like saying, "If you sacrifice me, you're not gonna the fruit not necessarily gonna work, but
it's not gonna work. It's in Scotland.
Not gonna grow.
This is
in Scotland
or something. Yeah.
He does try and bargain his way out of it, like quite well as well. But Summerisle's a bit like, "Shut up! It's gonna work, you knob."
Yeah.
And then they take him to the giant Wicker Man statue, which is terrifying. But when they put him in it, so obviously the big Brian Blessed Man puts Detective Howie in it.
Yeah.
Then they start singing another folk song. When he's in the Wicker Man, and how he's like terrified. I mean, he's praying and he's just everything just sort of, and he's shouting and insisting that because he's a man of God, it's not the same. It's not going to work. But he doesn't try and like get out at all, does he?
No, well, it's Wicker. Like, he would have made it out easy if he tried.
Yeah, but he could have tried.
The remake, don't they like break his?
They break his legs. They break his legs in the remake. I think
that would make sense. Yeah.
And they put like a thing on his head and pour a load of bees into it.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to do that. But it's so harsh. Like he puts on a brave face. He starts praying to God and to sort of save him or whatever. But he's obviously going to die. And they're all singing such a happy song, like such like a folky happy song as he's burning and the animals start to burn, and then you kind of feel like something good's going to happen. He's going to get saved or something at the end. But yeah,
like someone's going to fly his plane over and start machine gunning everybody on. Take it, you bastards!
Yeah, but no, he just dies, and then they sing, and then that's it.
And then it just goes to the sunset, and then the credits roll. Yeah. So I mean, it is a horrible ending, but
yeah.
There we go. That's what happens. That's what happens when you get mixed up in all this nonsense.
That's it. When you don't have sex.
That's basically the moral of the story: is get your end away sooner rather than later, as in of a legal age, because otherwise you're going to get burned alive.
Yeah. Okay, trivia. You ready?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Number 1. Robin Hardy, the director, tried to make a third Wicker Man film called The Wrath of the Gods. He set up a crowdfunding campaign but buggered it. True or false?
Buggered it? How old is he though? Does he know about crowdfunding? Sorry, no offense to older people, but I mean, he made this one like 50 years ago.
Yeah, it was 50 years ago now. Wow, that's gone by.
That's gone by. Like you remember it, like it was yesterday, 1973. Yeah. False. I say it's false.
No, it's true. Ultimately fell short of its $210,000 target.
By $208,000.
He didn't know how to press the publish button.
What was the third one called? The Wrath of the Wicker Dick.
The Wrath of the Gods.
Oh yeah, you said that already. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's go have a quick look.
Interesting.
I wonder if it's Kickstarter or if it was something else. Indiegogo. It's on there. Okay, well that's loaded.
It's still on there?
Yeah, still on there. It never goes away on Indiegogo. It shows you failures. Oh god, they really didn't make it. That's not very nice. Like, he should have done better than that.
How much?
Okay, give me like an estimate of where you think he got to out of the $210,000.
$13,000.
$8,318.
To be fair, I mean,
he made the Wicker Man, one of the best horror movies ever.
Yeah, but then he made the Wicker Tree, which got 3.9 out of 10. So that's like. Plus, if someone made this film in this day and age, The Wicker Man, as in it was similar in content, so people would just, I don't know, maybe people would love it.
I think Robin Hardy's dead now. Actually, so quick look. Yeah, died. Oh, is
he
year and a half ago? Yeah,
2016. God, he was like 85.
Sad. Yeah. Okay.
Well, at least he had a go at crowdfunding.
Yeah, you got to give it a go, haven't you? Christopher Lee agreed to appear in this film for a tuppence. True or false?
For a tuppence?
Yeah.
Ugh. False.
False. Yeah, he appeared to appear in the film for free, and he now considers it to be his best film and his best performance.
See, how old is Christopher Lee in this? Christopher Lee is another person
who been that age.
He's always been older. He's always been 45 plus.
Yeah, well,
he's never been younger than that.
Even like when I think about him in Dracula, like although he looks younger, he doesn't look that much younger. Do you know what I mean? That was like when
it's like no one's ever seen a picture of Tommy Lee Jones young. I've just googled Tommy Lee Jones young, and he's not young.
Yeah,
he's not young at all.
Christopher Lee, it's just looking at the pictures now. What a cool guy. He used to sing in like death metal bands or something, right?
Yeah, I think he had a couple of death metal albums, I believe. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, number 3.
Interesting.
The film's original negative film reel lies under the M3.
Lies under the M3. That's mad. That's bizarre. True.
It's true. I'm not really too sure what this means. Apparently, Robin Hardy didn't want the original reel to get out or something, and the film, whoever owns the reel, but like, don't worry about it because we used it as landfill to like make one of these barriers on the M3. I'm not too sure exactly what that means or like how it works. Or is that something people do? They just put like film reels as like landfill?
Listen. Do you want to get rid of something? I'm doing landfill, right? I'll call up everyone I know. Anything you want to get rid of forever.
Wicker Man, that's number 14 on Empire's film. Yeah, shove it in.
Shove it in. Get rid of it.
Yeah. Got The Shining in. It's weird. Okay, number 4. With the success of the film, Edward Woodward now considers himself a druid of the nude and nippled clan. Some have said they caught sight of him playing the spoons against his naked fires on the Scottish moors during the full moon.
As much as I want that to be true, that's false. But if you tell me it's true, I wouldn't be shocked.
It's false. But I just like the idea of people saying they'd caught sight of Edward Woodward playing the spoons naked on the Scottish moors.
Is that Edward Woodward playing the spoons naked?
What's that slapping sound?
Probably.
Okay. Number 5. The Wicker Man is just one of the so-called unholy trinity of folk horror. Blood on Satan's Claw is the other one. Can you name the third? So Wicker Man, Blood on Satan's Claw, and there's another one, like a really famous. There's
another. Yeah, I think I read this not so long ago. I don't want to ruin the trivia. It's something about witchcraft.
Yeah, you get close.
Keep
going.
Is the word witchcraft in it?
The witch is in there.
The witch man, Witches of Eastwick. I don't know.
Witchfinder General, which I've.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yeah, man. So I think you did quite well there. Next on the list is The Cabin in the Woods, but before that, there's a good do the film. Before that, we need to grade the film.
So next on the list is Cabin in the Woods, but I think we're going to do another stray off the list, aren't we? With Andy Conduit Turner again.
Yeah, we'll get Andy back on.
Yeah, I'm not. So we have discussed possibly watching. I mean, it's not horror as such; it's more like an action film. But we're going to possibly discuss Deep Blue Sea.
See, I've got no reverence for Deep Blue Sea. I can't really. No, don't know. Just don't know.
It's all right. I
remember Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. The reason I thought about this.
Jay.
Yeah. LL Cool Jane. Well, the reason we thought about doing this is because the sequel has been announced and is going to arrive like a straight to video or straight to DVD.
Yeah.
That don't even exist anymore. What am I talking about? Straight to DVD. Straight into your eyeballs.
Yeah.
Oh, so we might do Deep Blue Sea, or we might do Cabin in the Woods. We'll see what happens first.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, man. What do you grade the
film? I like this film. I mean, it is mental. And I'll probably not need to watch it again for another decade, but it's solid. And
this is kind of on your cliff, isn't it? Like, just around.
Yeah, I think this is hopefully on my cliff. I've got a couple of feet on the edge. As I said, I like the way I can see modern films in it and the way that they've been influenced by it. So I'd give it a B. Okay, easily give it a B. Easily.
I'd give it an A. I think this is one of my favorite films. Just generally, I think. I've got a real affinity. There's one point in my life when I got really into 70s folky music, and I really kind of enjoy listening to that sort of.
Yeah.
And because this film is mostly that feeling all the way through, but and also because this one plays into like one of my fears that I'm terrified of this whole idea.
Yeah.
I just find it really gets to me. Like out of all the films on this list, even Audition, which was a super scary sort of. In the way it ended, I find this one more horrific. There's something about it that just really terrifies me. So yeah, I give it an A. I think it's very rare you see a film that is as weird as this. Yeah,
definitely weird. Yeah. Very weird.
Okay, so Any other news you want to tell people?
Or the news, it's all going to be all right. That's all you need to know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go watch the Cloverfield Paradox. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, we'll watch the Cloverfield Paradox and we'll discuss a little bit next time, possibly. Yeah. Or we might not discuss it on the show. We might discuss it in private, and then you have to just guess what we think of it.
I would recommend Super Dark Times on Netflix.
Oh, yeah.
None of people are watching it, and it is really good.
Yeah, and I'd recommend the new series of The X-Files. If you get past the first 2 episodes, I'm sure the rest will be fine.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, this show is brought to you by Hawk and Cleaver. Head over to hawkandcleaver.com. I've gone Patreon over at patreon.com/Hawk and Cleaver. Thanks to Kovac Kalman for our theme music. Thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to the listeners. If you enjoyed the show, give us a rating review in iTunes. And remember to hit subscribe. And thanks to my co-host Ben for being a real horror dude.
Thank you, Luke.
That sneeze? That was a sneezy yawn. Bye.